Welcome to Bragging Rights, episode 25.
We're going first.
We're going first.
I finally know how it feels to be an old fan. Sitting and listening for a change.
You don't sit and listen, though.
I won't be sitting.
I do listen.
Well, as a group, you don't sit and listen.
No, that's different.
You need to cheer yourself up after this weekend and have as many digs as possible.
Yeah, I feel like you do.
Oh no, I'm a little bit opposite to all Hull fans that have spent all yesterday focusing on Rovers.
No,
I don't really care what you've
yesterday
done.
focusing on our academy, beating your academy
Yeah.
yesterday, but we'll get onto that as well later on.
Oh, so your brother sat next to you yesterday who spent all yesterday fishing in the group because you finally won one game at home.
It was so easy, though. Like,
He had a
Susan
lot of
was
rods
just
out,
like,
didn't he,
bite,
yesterday?
bite. It was just there.
I even said I said it in I was like, he's looking for it. Just leave him. Even I'd learned my lesson by this point.
It's fun, though. It's fun. I mean, if you were saying just before we come on, didn't we? We were like, you bumped into someone somewhere. And they were like, oh, the bald one's all right, but the one with the ponytail just
Tries to be edgy.
tries
Just
to
can't
be
find the word
edgy.
for
I'm not trying to be
controversial.
edgy. I'm just a dick.
Your ponytail is quite edgy.
It's not even a ponytail.
It was the bald one's cool. That tickled me. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Bald one.
I don't know what. Yeah, no. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching.
See you later.
See you,
See you in
bye.
a bit. Trying to be edgy. I don't know what to say. Yeah. So episode 25, recorded here at Tribal as usual, and sponsored by Comscaf again as usual. Let's talk about FC. I like it. So
well
we just
happy,
talk about
aren't
how
you?
happy I am about like him talking about
Had a
FC.
couple of people messaged me as soon as your game finished yesterday. You get to go first.
Yeah, they could have messaged you at half time. It wouldn't have made a difference.
We
Wow.
had one on Twitter as well.
The hoodoo is over.
It is.
The apparent hoodoo, anyway.
The hoodoo that no one gave a shit about except Rovers fans is over.
And journalist.
Oh, and journalists, yeah.
Sorry, just before you get into it, can I just make a point? I'm very, very disappointed in Josh. His calendar's not flicked over to 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is.
Oh, he's not brought his little
Yep.
flip chart
I'm
thing.
very disappointed. You're on par with days since, and I'm very disappointed in you.
Oh yeah, I could have done that, couldn't I?
Have you shut down your ex account as well?
I would never have an X account.
Ever.
No, I've got one. I
Oh.
would just never have one that focused on one style.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. Go on, then.
It was alright in the end.
It was... I was a bit stressed.
You was, weren't you?
I was real stressed. I was that stressed. So I got a text off Rachel during the first half, just before half time, saying, what's this all about? And she got a notification to say that I had like high heart rate. And it was like so high that it thought it was necessary to tell my girlfriend. Anyway, that's how nervous I was during the game. My heart rate was just fucking off. But then second half, it calmed down a little bit, didn't it? So it was all right.
Yeah, it was definitely if there was ever a game of two halves, that was it.
Yeah.
It was flip the side. It was just What did you say? All changed.
Well, they swapped shirts, didn't they?
Yeah, swap shirts.
Wakey came out in the old shirts in the second half, and vice versa, because that's what.
Can't
it was
we
like.
come out in the Wakey shirts in the first half?
No, because you've been very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Whereas that was probably Wakey's first terrible performance, particularly in the second half. They have not played that bad in any game so far this year.
Prevented them in the second.
No,
half.
I'm not taking away from you on that. But what
I
I'm
think
saying
it kind
is,
of matched our game with them.
your
at
point
their
was
place.
can we say you was in the Wake shirts?
Oh,
Like, no,
fair
you haven't hit the highs they've hit at times this year. I wouldn't say.
That game for me, it was a little bit like the game we had at their place. It was first half we just didn't get into it. Second half we managed to.
I think we
clinch
stuck
the
in
win.
it at their place. And I
Yeah,
think
it
we
was
just
a bit
about
more of a
stuck in
dogged
it.
affair,
Yeah.
wasn't it? But
So I think the game at their place felt closer to me. The gulf at half time. I'm sure you might. Obviously, you guys was there. You're FC fans. You might have a different stance on this, but I felt as though a lot of FC fans must be thinking at half time, we can't turn this around.
I did.
Because it wasn't just about the scoreline. Despite being it quite close, it was everything just felt like FC was out of that game, and like you obviously wasn't, and you came back for a good win in the end. But you did you actually feel like Jimmy just said your heart rate was going through the roof? Did a bit of you feel like we can turn this around,
No.
or was it just sheer
I
panic?
went down and spoke to a mate who was a couple of rows in front of us, and I says we ain't getting into double figures. I don't fancy our attack to to score the points necessary to get back into this. And we scored the first, and I'll get into it in a minute. He looked back at me, and I went, I think we can. Just like mouth them words, I think we can. But there was a Aidan Caesar wrote we get an email before the game. You know, that used to get in your match day program, a player or someone writes about the game coming up, and Aidan Caesar wrote, and Aidan Caesar's was this week, and he wrote, the message is simple: look after the ball and the rest will look after itself. We've just not taken care of the football over the last few weeks, and we've been made to pay the price. It's a pretty simple fix, and once we do manage to put it together on the field, I'm sure the win will be ours. And all that first half, that paragraph was just ringing in my head.
You did the complete opposite.
Exactly. I'm thinking, how far away from what he was talking about are we at the minute? And it was massive. Unforced errors, awful options in attack when we had the ball, poor last plays, and at half time, I think all of us could count ourselves lucky. That was only 10 points down. It only to our defence was the reason why we was only 10 points down at half time.
With a very small, a little bit of pinch of salt for a comparison here, it had feelings of our game against Leeds last week, where we went into the sheds at half time thinking, how are we not even further up? We've bombed 3 try attempts. It felt like that for me for Wakey, not to take away from your one in the end, but I was like, Wakey should be 20 up here. The possession they've had, and even though they made a lot of errors, they felt on top. I mean, you guys were 7 out of 13 sets completed, 53% in the first half. You know, untold errors, particularly in the opening 10 minutes. And it felt very similar to me. It was like, they'll be into the sheds thinking, why are we not already having this team blown away? How have we let them have a chance to come out in the second half and think they can come back?
Well, it was daft little things for me. Like, I don't know how long into the game it was, but things like Burrow going to pick up the ball and pass it from dummy half and just dropped it. And then Cush taking his eye off the ball when I think it was
Barron passed it. Barron passed it, and then these people around you going, "Oh, that's an awful pass from Barron." I was like, "No, it's not.
Straight to Cush.
It's maybe top end of his chest, but an amateur rugby league player would have caught that. So a professional should have no problem."
How many times do you see players catch it above the reds or on their ankles and stuff?
We looked panicked again. Like I've said, we looked like we're playing under pressure at home, and no one was putting under pressure. There was no moan and groaning in the stands again. It was like, but we, as a team, they looked like they was playing like they was under pressure. So I don't know where that's coming from. Was it within themselves? Because I can say was it within themselves now because we're over it, hopefully. But yeah, it was rinse and repeat from the last 2 weeks again in that first half, and another one as well to show how on the back foot we apparently made double the amount of tackles they did. We made 200 tackles to their 100 in the first half, apparently. So, but yeah, second half, swap shirts, totally different team.
I don't think we swapped shirts. I just think Cartwright must have had a chat with the ref.
I think Radford was in the changing room. That's I think what happened.
Apparently, the team talk at half time was led by Zach and Aidan.
From Zach, because he was, in my opinion, he was the only player. I haven't looked to see what ratings the FC players have got this week, but he was the only player that's deserving of anything above a 6, because he led from the front the entire first half and second half, and he's up there as an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for the performance. He showed what we spoke about last week, but the rest of your team, I don't care what we did in the second half. None of them deserve a higher rating than that, because none of them did anything in the first half.
Now, who's been edgy?
Why is that edgy?
Well, I think that's bollocks. I actually do think it's bollocks to say that none of the team did anything in the first half. I'm sorry to call you out, but I do think that's bollocks. I think going forward, you're quite right, but the way that we defended and the way that we've defended all season.
Don't paraphrase what I'm saying. I'm not saying they didn't do anything. I'm saying they didn't do anything deserving of getting a high rating when you're rating the players at the end. You can't turn up for 40 minutes and get a high rating. That's all I was getting.
Fair enough, but I still disagree. I think to say that we're not, that players in that team are not higher than a 6. I do think that's out of order.
All right, they can have 6.1. Right.
Do you know, even when I'm like, because Zach deserves all the praise, even then, Jimmy's initial bite is just to be like, I'm slagging off the rest of the players. It's not what I'm saying. You've got to look at it from a realistic point of view that, in my opinion, it's incredible to turn around a first half performance like that to win the game, but you've got to look at what the hell was going wrong in the first half rather than focusing on just the win in the second half. So I think you've some serious questions about what the players were doing and doing wrong in the first half. That's all I was saying.
I think it's clear what we was doing
some
wrong.
Some players, and unfortunately some players that have a massive impact, like a Burrow at 9 and Cush dropping that ball when he's meant to be your 6. I get that, but then you've got people like SASA. His stats this week are unreal. Like, considering where he's been at, the team that he was playing against, where they were dominating us from everywhere in the first half, guy made 180 metres off of 21 tackles, average gain of 9. What's he got here? He's got 29 tackles, none missed, 4 from marker for whatever reason, 7 tackle busts, 3 offloads,
Yeah, that's what
no
impressed me,
errors.
7 tackle busts.
Made no errors, no missed tackles.
You obviously listened to me slagging him off last week when I said he's done nothing for a month.
I did say to you when I read the stats, when I sent you the stats, I was like, I think he might have just watched our episode last week.
Yeah.
No, but the problem is, barnstorming games like that are fantastic. He was very, very good, particularly in the second half when all the momentum was with you and your forwards did turn up. But you can't have players that you run into the ground and don't do it for 4 or 5 weeks and then they turn up and have one game. Because that performance you had there won't beat Wigan this week.
Oh,
But
no,
that doesn't take
I
away
think it
from how
will.
well SCSA played. So you see the point I was making there is that it's not to slag him off this week. I was making the point that, all right, maybe to say everybody but Zach was a bit harsh, maybe a bit facetious on my thing, but you have to look at that point and say, you've got some incredible hard work, but look in the second half to come back and win that. Because you can't turn up the way you did in the first half and expect to be in games.
No, we can't. Not going forward. We'd have to be smarter. But onto the second half, totally
Be
different.
smarter.
Did you just say smarter?
Did I?
Good England.
Smarter. I can't remember. We kept hold of the ball, up the speed of the play the ball, which I've been screaming for us to do. And second half, I don't know what, why, how, it just changed.
I think Caesar listens to his own team talks as well at half time because he always steps his speed. It's like he gets that sort of youthful speed back in the second half of games. You know, when he's trying to break through lines, he did it against Warrington.
Maybe he's born out of frustration.
He's done it against
that
Wakefield.
The rest of the team aren't doing it, and he's like, "Well, I need to take the game by the scruff of the neck." Because
Well, he's the
other
captain. He
players
should
around
be
me are."
taking the game by
But
the scruff from
him
minute
and,
1.
Him and Zach led from the front fantastically well in that second half. Platforms led by Herman and Knight, who I thought had brilliant second halves. And as soon as that first try went in, I felt like I felt confident we would. Going from 10 minutes before that, 15 minutes before that, when I'm saying to my mate, don't fancy us, you just felt something had changed in the game. And they offered nothing. We prevented them from getting up the pitch. And it was just... It was nice to have that confidence in us again that we hadn't seen for a few weeks and to feel quite comfortable at the game. And like I said, as soon as that first try went in, I was... I had no doubt that the win was coming.
I'm going to sound real harsh, and I'm not saying this to be edgy. I became confident when Amir went off. And I think it is harsh to say because I know he went off for an HIA that he failed, but...
I think we'd taken control of the game before that, though.
But we might have, yeah, in a way, but we were not pushing forward. There was no speed from dummy half until he went off.
Yeah, I can.
And
I
we
can
were
agree with that.
lacking massively from
I think
that.
you're really fair to call that out. I think that was noticeable. Because I felt that across
Glad
the week,
we agree on that one.
across the weekend,
It
but
was.
not just your game, across the weekend, I felt, I said this before we started recording, but I felt that the ruck speed and the play the ball speed across the sport this weekend has been incredibly poor. And I don't know if it's something to do with obviously the heat we've had in the country and the refs are almost being a bit more lenient, but I felt there was so many missed opportunities to penalise in most games. I felt in the first half of your game, you guys could have been penalised 10, 15 times for the lane on. I felt that in the second half in your game, Wakey did get penalised once or twice, but they could have been done 10 or 15 times for it. And it just felt as though in the second half, you had that speed around the ruck, and you were so much better at play the ball, getting the ball out, good deliveries from half as well, from the play the ball. It was noticeable, and whether that coincides with what you're saying, Jimmy, it's because he went off or not, I don't want to speak to that if it is just him as one player, but you was much quicker than them in the second half.
I think he's got a lot to look out for. He's got a look over his shoulder as Burrow, because you've got Cuss there who can step in, who's going to be able to step in if Charles keeps, working his way into the team like he has been. But I mean, Bamford didn't have a bad game yesterday, did he? For Catalan. So if he's getting the game time that he needs to develop, and then it gets to the end of the season and pre-season, and by next season, Burrow might be your third choice hooker.
It could be.
I wish
the way it's going. Sorry,
sorry, I was going to say on that with you. Just say sorry, because I will shut up after this. But I wish I'd saved the guy's name. An Hull FC fan on Facebook, because I'd be happy to call him out. Put 2 comments during your game. The first one at half time was Cartwright out. He's got no clue. He's brought across useless lumps of SHIT. They don't do anything. Him and his son can get gone. And the same Facebook user at full time said, amazing performance, up the black and whites. I've been saying for weeks, why isn't Cust at Nan? Same fan.
To be fair, you've been saying that, and I think it's shown now that Cust wasn't offering enough to take the pressure off Caesar in the halves. Charles did that for the 35 minutes, however long he was on for on Thursday, and Cust then offered more at hooker than what Amir has been offering us, especially in attack. And I've been screaming for us to get more speed around the ruck. He brought that on Thursday. You mentioned about the penalty count then. Be wrong of us not to mention the change in that, and some certain comments from coaches, or non-comments or non-mentions of referees.
There is nothing wrong with walking down the tunnel, talking to your players about the penalty count
in front of the referee.
In front of the ref. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Cartwright said it, he's one to talk, isn't he, about Powell. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, you're on your home turf, you're in your home stadium. Well, you're in Hull City Stadium.
Powell even said himself he's done it before. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So but I've never seen it work. I was like, well, you're clearly not good at what you bloody do. It's not Cartwright's fault for being good at it first half.
Cartwright, I believe Cartwright when he says he never spoke to the ref directly. I don't think he went up to the ref, spoke to him face to face. Which is what Powell said.
No, he didn't. Powell just said influencing the ref.
He went and spoke to the ref.
No, I think when you showed us it beforehand, I think that he said marching up and down the touchline, talking about the penalties.
Fair enough.
I could be wrong. I don't think he ever says he specifically goes into the referee one-on-one and has a word about penalties. He never.
But still, Cartwright knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he'd have been in earshot of the ref, and why not? Why not do it? Why not try it?
But I don't think there was any problem. Look, there was some decisions across most games this weekend that were poor reffing. I think in most games we saw a massive clanner in the Catalan game. I believe there's a couple in our game. In your game, there was stuff missed early on. There was talks of a knock-on that was missed at the start. There was a late hit that SASA put on the kicker, which was soft. You've got the controversy over the Martin try at the end, which was a try for most people, but shit cameras from Sky don't let us see that. The refs keep letting themselves down, and this is not to do with the coaches talking about it. 77th minute of your game, Wakey put a captain's challenge in, and the video ref and the ref are talking, and he says there is high contact, but it's shoulder first, and he slips up, so therefore it's not high contact. And everybody sat at home, he sat there going, well, I've had a player this year, Simbindor red carded for shoulder first that slips up.
In your game yesterday, there was a Leigh player tackled a Rovers player, hit the ball first and then went up to the neck. It was given as a high tackle.
Yeah.
So why is it in one game and not the other?
There's no wonder that fans online and fans watching get frustrated, and then even the coaches want to talk about penalty counts being evened up or speaking to referees when, as a sport, we can't get them right. You want the game to flow. But when there's glaring errors and things like that, and look, they don't decide the outcome of games. I think you was going to win that game regardless, because the second half you had the full momentum and Wakey were bad. And if anything, they were worse in the second half than you were in the first half. Hence why you won the game. But it takes away from the sport and from wins and things like that when you have bad refereeing decisions and discussions of penalties.
Yeah, agree. We're going to finish up. 2 mentions of players. We've mentioned, obviously, Herman and Knight and Caesar and Zach, I thought Brad Fash on Thursday, he came in and for the first time in a long, long time, he looked comfortable. He didn't have a weldy, he had just a solid game, and it was good to see, especially just after he denounced the 12-month testimonial for him as well.
Happy about.
It is what it is. And the other thing, and he's a player we mention week in, week out, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but sure I do. Rapana, he's now showing, without being anything spectacular, what he brings to the team when he's been played in a more natural position to him. And there's 1 point on him. Jack Charles missed a conversion at 10-10.
Yeah.
To make it 12-10. And instead of going back to his position, Rapana further down the wing, he waited at the halfway line for Jack Charles just to give him a pat on the back, little pep talk. I don't know what he said. Just them little things. And I turned to Jimmy, and said, is that what we're missing? Is that what he's bringing off the field that we don't see every week? And maybe it is. So
It must be.
it must be.
Because he still missed 4 tackles. And at centre, I don't think that's... I get your point, and I'm the one that said it too. I think he is a lot better at centre than he is at fullback, but he's still got a fair bit to work on. But at least he's getting rid of them silly, unforced sort of fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
I was shocked he was one of the players not to make an error in the first half for you.
Yeah, only made 1 error all game.
Finish on, Hull FC's wheelchair team beat Sheffield Eagles 36-22 in their opening home game of the season on Saturday. And finally, the Academy boys won the Hull derby 30-22 at Craven Park yesterday, coming from behind to score 18 unanswered points to take the bragging rights, compounding a miserable weekend for the red and white side of the city and a fantastic one for the early birds.
You've missed one thing, haven't you, before you finish?
No.
Shh. Do you know when we won the Challenge Cup and we had a parade and that? You had a parade for your first home win in nearly a year, didn't you? You had a party on the pier. I mean, Jimmy didn't know because he's technically a KR fan, but party on the pier? Any good? Did you go?
I was supposed to go, but...
Oh, so no then. Okay.
Bad. Weak events turned that against me, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I'm not getting into it, but I was supposed to go.
That's embarrassing.
I don't think it's embarrassing to have a party on the pier for winning your first home game in nearly a year.
No, we're talking
You
about-
deserve it.
I'm talking about him.
Yeah, he's embarrassing, yeah.
Anyway, let's listen to the advert from the sponsor.
This week's episode is sponsored by Comscaff.
Commercial Scaffolding, or Comscaff, are a Hull-based company formed over 30 years ago.
They offer a safe and professional scaffolding service nationwide.
For services and enquiries, you can go to comscaff.co.uk or call 01482 782 181.
Your turn.
That's it. That's what I've got. Next.
Empty pit. Oh, no, there is some.
No, that's predictions. That's my notes.
The main question is, did you have a good day out with your lad?
No. Next question.
Did you enjoy the pre-match build-up?
Trent
The greatest
Independent.
show, apparently.
Oh, it's embarrassing. So cringy. But,
I do love fireworks during the daytime.
yeah. Not only that, what's that puff of smoke thing that they had going on? Do you know, in them little machines?
Round the back of the...
Around the
the back of
advertising
the
hoardings.
advertising board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, they were just letting out, like, steam? Or whatever it was.
No idea what they are.
No, me neither.
It's
Or
a
what
bit
they achieve.
overkill, especially for a daytime when you don't get the
It
full
offered
effects of
absolutely nothing except a horrific noise in the stadium.
it. Is that... Yeah, over
And
the tannoy.
speaking of horrific noise, a little segue into this. Accidentally, on purpose, I don't know, Leigh's PA system started playing a little
It was
respect.
like that. Oh,
No,
sorry.
it started playing a little respect. To which point, they turned it off after about 3 seconds, but it was too late. This was before the game. So we obviously burst out into the rendition of A Little Respect. And the next song came on, and it was like they'd turned the volume up to 1 billion. You could not hear yourself
a billion.
think. I mean, it's loud in there as it is anyway. It's been alluded to by the commentators and things like that, but you couldn't hear yourself think. You couldn't really hear what was coming through the speakers because it was that loud. It was just all in all horrendous. It needs working on. And what the fuck are them stupid lasers that they play all the way through the games?
I'm pretty sure at one point we were meant to be like no F's and C's.
Yeah, I don't care. What are them lasers all about in the game?
Oh, the projects onto the back of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that when we
But
were
like
there.
they were like projecting like Oli onto the stand on the far side, which is fair enough. But like the lasers that were like going around and then it was coming through the crowd.
Like you're in a nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. We didn't have them
Yes, they
through
did.
the. Did
Yeah.
we?
Yep.
Yeah, I think because of just the pan, like the pan round, but like the lasers were sort of going through the crowd.
I didn't notice. I'm a bit mongy though, aren't I? So.
Yeah, he was probably out of it.
Apart from that,
Apart from that, no, I still didn't have a good day. I'd done a night
I'm
shift.
really enjoying this.
Do you know what? I'm enjoying it because I'm getting it off my chest. Saves Laura the issue later. So I'd done a night shift where it was like 16,000 degrees in the office because it's like a greenhouse. Then I went straight to the game.
His numbers are wild today, aren't they?
The coach had no aircon,
16,000.
so it was hotter than the centre of the sun. There was
Can
no
you put that in
aircon.
numbers for us so we can?
16 trillion degrees. I don't know. That's in Fahrenheit. No aircon on the coach. All the food had gone warm and melted and soggy. Gets there and it's fucking hotter than the Sahara, about 52 degrees. Thankfully, the away stand was in the shade. That was the only saving grace for the day. The performance was an absolute shambles. And then the way home, there was no aircon again. It had gone up to 16 billion and 1 degrees. And yeah, it was just horrific.
Fair enough. So going on at Tribal this week.
That's it. That's all we have to talk about for yesterday.
Have you got out to share?
Yeah, it's always rubbish when you lose a game. I think it's always going to be rubbish when you guys win and we lose. I know it hasn't happened for a long time, but that makes it perhaps feel worse, particularly if you tune into social media so much and see the banter. The way people are going on, you'd think that we lost the grand final already yesterday, lost the league leaders, and you guys won the league somehow. And that's not even just Hull fans. There's a lot of Wigan fans and Leigh fans on there. And Rovers recently have become a bit hated, you know, rightly or wrongly. Usually happens when you're near the top or at the top. For me, we spent a long time talking about looking at positives for you guys going over the last sort of few months, and I'm trying to do that with Rovers. We've lost 2 on the spin here, only 3 in this league year. We didn't look like ourselves last week against Leeds and bombed, as we said, 2 out of 3 certain tries, 3 potential tries that would have possibly won the game. We had an incident last week where we lost Mikey, and talk about a one-man team, Mikey's gone again. I don't think that's strictly true. I think most teams struggle if you lose your star player. Wigan have been grinding out wins without Bevan French. You guys have looked the clunkiest of clunky without Asiata.
About
And
their
Price.
nucleus.
I disagree on the Price thing. I think
We've not got to see
he
how
had
we
some
are without
speed,
Price.
but he's done it for a couple of games.
Yeah.
And he's had good games against people like Catalan who didn't turn up. So we can't say on Price yet. Maybe in the future. Definitely Asiata though, because he's a proven entity. Coming back to us though, it was hot. There's no taking away from that at all on the guys. We had an incident again in this game where our half-back in Richardson's gone off after 16 minutes and doesn't return.
Left the game in a boot, by the way.
Yeah.
On
So
crutches.
we've immediately had a shuffle there where we haven't got the attacking halves. And at that point, we was probably well in the game. This is what I was worried about last week when I did my prediction and said I'm going to have to back us to win by only a couple because I think Leigh will be on a high. I think your answer was no, Wigan took too much out of them.
Yeah, I thought we would have
And
done.
absolutely didn't come into fruition. They had too much on the day for us. We were caught out of position a few times. I don't think Batchelor looked ready to be back. And I think that ultimately, for me, we're the only team apart from Wyatt to not have a rest. We're the only team to not have a week off this year. And for me, it's finally shown. I joked last week about a cup hangover, but coincided with the heat, coincided with players out of position, a few injuries. Look, we didn't turn up on the day, Leigh with a better side. We walk away still top of the league, but now only 2 points clear. And makes it incredibly exciting for casual fans, but for us, it puts that pressure on. You know, we've got to travel to Catalan next week, which hopefully should be a win. Back in, Mike will be back. We hopefully can have some rest. But I really think as a club and as a team, we are now eyeing down that bit of rest, which happens in a fortnight's time.
You look like you're screaming out for that.
The players looked absolutely shattered in a way that they shouldn't look just for the heat for professional rugby league players. And I think that plays in part as to some of the lacklustre defence and some of the probably poor poor attacking choices going forward. We sort of felt as though we was doing the right things, but not executing them in the way we would. We was 7 out of 10, and they were catching kicks, and we wasn't quite getting through the line, and we made a lot of yards where we'd make it to just beyond their halfway, but we'd never quite make it into a 20. And yeah, I think fatigue's the right word for me. So I'm not throwing toys out the pram and saying the world's ended. I think there's perfectly good reasons for it. It's how we regroup and go forward over the next few weeks and to finish the year.
Yeah, speaking of the next few weeks, we've got some, looking at the table, what you would call favourable fixtures. We've got Catalan away, we've got Castleford at home, and we've got Salford away. Now, after the 2 games against Leigh and Leeds, where we haven't looked our best, where we've looked tired, we've looked like we're in need of that rest, as Dean's just spoken about, these fixtures have come at the perfect time for us. And I'd be very, very disappointed if we don't take 6 from 6 out of these next 3 games before. Well, it's 2 before the rest, isn't it? And then Salford the week after.
I think we have to have a chance to still be challenging for the League Leaders Shield. I think, Wigan, they are still that little bit better when they want to be than most of the rest of the league. I know at time, like now, other teams, Leigh, for example, are showing form. But I think if we want a realistic chance to still be at the League Leaders, that's what we need to be doing. We've got to target 3 wins in the next 3. I want to give a lot of praise to Leigh. I think that last week's game against Wigan, they really sort of had a hard-fought win. But what they did yesterday, they're the first team to put 6 tries on Rovers for a very long time. I know we discussed it. I don't think we quite got the actual...
No, because I said the Wigan away game at the Brick last season, didn't I?
Was
and that
5,
was only
yeah.
5.
So it's going to be a good couple of years, but we didn't check. But it was a real good performance from them. I think it'd be remiss of me not to mention some unfortunate incidents in the game. I talked about some poor reffing. This isn't the reason we lost the game, just to clarify.
Not by any means.
No, we lost the game fair and square on not being as good as the other team. Leigh were better on the day, but in the opening minutes, we've got to use a captain's challenge to win the ball back against a knock-on that wasn't a knock-on. Like, that, you think, well, what's the ref looking at? 'Cause it wasn't even close.
Didn't even let go of the ball. Like, he never left his hand.
I thought that was a strange one for me. There was a couple of, I felt, potential knock-ons that didn't go our way. I felt, again, there was some sloppy high tackles that I'm not mad we gave away, but we didn't get them back. Again, talking about this arm on the shoulder that slips up and catches a bit of the neck and the shoulder here, which, it's a bit... It's in sort of hot topic for me at the minute. We've got Mikey getting hit in the neck last week, which caused incredible controversy about the fact that he didn't actually fail his HIA, but he did fail the fact that he exhibited concussion symptoms because of the way he stayed down. So people online saying, well, Mikey faked it and stayed down. But then you've got, in the whole game, you've got Cust faking an injury, faking his head thrown back to win a penalty that the commentators almost praised. And then you've got some tackles in our game being given as a head high when it catches the shoulder, some not being given. The level of inconsistency is really poor for me.
Throughout the weekend.
And this weekend has just been terrible for me in that. And I don't know if the heat's a part of it or not, but the instance that I think were particularly unfortunate as well, that are more to do with the players. The whole scenario around Jez Litton getting sin-binned for professional foul, I'm not mad about him getting done. I'm a bit frustrated about the incident before that. Charnley throws an elbow that clocks Davies in the face. You have a duty of care not to do that. I don't care if it's accidental. That should be penalised. I know Charnley went over to apologise. He lays Davies out. He full on, people that are watching will see, he's going to play the ball, he does this. He throws the elbow, accidental or not, apology or not, that's an elbow to the face, and that, for me, is very poor and he's looking at. I don't know whether Jez is involved afterwards for that incident or not, but then what we've seen after the fact is, in the lead up to that, Lamb drops his knee into Jez's face.
I think that was what...
Which is what I think there was words after that, and that's why Jez runs in. Now,
Are you guys under the impression that was deliberate?
I'm not.
I haven't seen it back, so because I didn't watch it.
I think it's
I'm
incidental,
not. I
to
think
be
he's
fair.
trying to find space, and they always say attacker find space, and he was trying to do that.
I think
I have heard that some people.
I don't think it was deliberate.
Yeah.
Just
I think it was
don't
very
think it
much
is.
the same as Charnley's elbow to the face. It was incidental. I don't think it was on purpose. It just happened. Charnley was trying to get free, swung an elbow. I don't think he meant to hit anyone in the face. But same thing with Lamb. He's just trying to get free, and his knee ends up dropping on Jez's face.
I'm more frustrated about the Charnley one than that. The Lamb one, I think, is pure accident. The
Charlie's
Charlie
got
one,
a duty of care.
I don't think Charlie has any reason to be moving in that way. The player, Charlie, is like this to play the ball. He's fighting to get up. There is no reason for this elbow to come this far round to catch a player here. And whether it's he's trying to shrug the player off or not, as you say, there's a duty of care there. I think, it could be wrong, not the other players, but Jez's frustration after already getting caught and then he's bleeding, it must there. He's took a big knee to the face. To then see that happen to his player, to no doubt Lamb's mouthing off. He's a gobby player and they're winning well. I think that spills over, and then we've got this confusion where the referee's trying to give Tanganoa 10 minutes, despite the fact that Tanganoa was already on the field.
That was the guy who does the subs that, because he went over to him and said, who came on for Jez Litton?
It was the fourth official.
And he went, Kalepi Tanganoa. When it wasn't, it was Mickey Mack. And I'm like, you should have that written down. Like, he looked at the board, because they're right on the board, the interchanges. So he's looked at it and gone, yeah, he's come on for him. So, fucking hell, do we even trust them when the subs come on? That is the right one. But on the game itself, is there any concern for you guys going forward? Are you just classing it as a little blip in the road? You cup hangover 3 weeks after it, we all thought it would have been, or is it
I don't think it's cup hangover. I think that time's passed. We've had five games since the cup final now, and we've lost the last two. So I think it is more fatigue than anything else. We've not had that rest. Other teams have had a rest where they've had cup weeks off. They've had that extra week to recuperate and things like that, and we are screaming out for it. So that is what I would put it down to. A little bit of a blip in form, which in rugby league you're always going to see. You're not going to get a team that's going to go unbeaten through the season unless they're superhuman.
I think if it was from my point of view, if this had have happened after your break, then I'd be a little concerned that teams have maybe figured us out a little bit. But you look shattered. You look absolutely shattered.
That's the crux of it, isn't it?
It's absolutely knackered. And look, I'll answer that question as well. I don't see what there is to panic about. I think that there's perhaps a little bit of arrogance from, I don't know, keyboard warriors. You know, we've had this discussion about the Rovers fans need to be more humble. There are some, you know, people all online, Rovers, the bubble's burst. They won't even be in the six now. You know, you can see all sorts of shite, can't you, if you look far enough, right?
I've put myself on an X-band for a week
honestly,
after the league game. Because
fair man wearing the six and you're 11 points clear.
Honestly, some of the comments are wild, but on a more serious note on it, look.
Does that mean we've got a chance of finishing top?
I think we're going to win the league.
Mathematically, yeah.
You can't go the full season and win every game. It just doesn't happen. And we talk a lot about Wigan being able to run through their bit of the down patch and bring it good at the back end of the year. Be nice to see us do that if we can go the next 3 weeks, pick up 3 wins, maybe get everybody back who we want back in the right positions and avoid injuries. Maybe have a bit of time off to let the players sort of recuperate and not be so shattered.
Well, we've had that. We've had them weeks off, and we know that he's just said to the players, "Go away for a few.
Mate,
get away.
You had the first half off on Thursday night, and look what happened."
Shut up. Get away from rugby.
You interrupted me.
I know. Get away from rugby, and I think your players need that. Just get away from work, because it is work.
Mikey did it last year, I think, didn't he? He went to France. He put something on his Instagram where he'd gone to France for a couple of days.
Liam Knight's in Amsterdam now. He's just gone. Straight after the game, just went.
I'm not going to comment on that, but
no, I'm not commenting on that. Not with
the point being all that is, you look at who we've lost against, and I know the focus is on we've lost 3 games and all 3 have been without Mikey, right? I don't think that's the right way to look at these games. I think the first loss against Wigan earlier in the season, I do think we was outclassed and well beaten. I don't think we had the right game plan, and I do think missing Mikey was a big part of that, so we can't be denying that.
Anti-derby as well, after the derby.
Yeah, and a lot of circumstance. Last week, we was our own worst enemies. We bombed 3 tries against a team that can't attack well. We saw that against Saints. Leeds don't know how to get points over the line. Jake Connor once again proved why he shouldn't be in an England shirt. This weekend, he was signing balls and throwing them to kids in the crowd. That's the only excuse I've got for some of the passes he was throwing out during that game. Honestly, right? So and then this game, we was beaten by a better team on the day that wanted it more. So they're all different reasons, just coincidentally without Mikey. We see how we go from here. I still feel confident that we are a top 2 team. I still think we've got a good chance of League Leaders Shield, which is a fair challenge, and I don't think it's unrealistic. It's on us now to get that rest and recuperation properly, and to make sure that these are, as we've just called them, blips, and we are just fatigued, as opposed to there is something wrong. Let's stop, not us, but people online, let's stop panicking about Rovers just because they've lost now 3 games,
I'm not
which is
panicking.
still less than anybody else in the league.
It's going to come down to the 15th of August, isn't it? That's where it's going to be. So
Is that the...
that's the Wigan game away. So
Oh, I'll enjoy that in a nice Turkish bar with a beer in my hand.
anyways, that's our shambles done for this week.
So I think the answer is going to be no, but
No.
Is it an edgy question?
no, I don't think it's edgy.
Is
I
it a
think
clunky
if
question?
you look at
Are you going to look like a dick?
no, it's
Has
a
it got a
genuine question.
nucleus?
It's a genuine question. I want to know
That's what
whether
he always
you're
asks
whether
you,
you're a
isn't
little bit worried now, thinking back to last week and where we're at now. Last week you had the opportunity to go 6 clear. You're now only 2 clear. You've still got to play Wigan. You've still got to play us, whether you want to act like that's not a big game or not.
Never,
it is.
never when it's a derby. I'm never like that.
Are you worried that you're going to miss out on another trophy now?
The worry's there. I can't say it's not because I'd be lying.
I think because if I genuinely think if you'd have won last week, I think that's it. League leaders in the bag.
Yeah, if we'd have gone 6 clear, then yeah, I agree with that. But to say I'm not worried that we might miss out on a trophy is I can't say I'm not. I can't say I'm not worried.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm genuinely, I have no worries about that because I don't expect it. I didn't expect it would
fair.
win it.
Yeah.
I said at the start of this season, and I said it all along, I'll finish this season happy with just the Challenge Cup. All we wanted was to have that one win and have one thing right. It's very hard to win something in this league, and now the narrative has changed, and now the conversation becomes again. Maybe more fans need to be humble online, talking about could be treble winners or whatever. I mean, I read this topic very quickly, but the Wigan and Huddersfield game on Friday night, a Wigan fan online with that outrageous try they scored, put that's how a treble winning quad winning champions does it. And I was like,
But you can't be champions.
but you're not the quads anymore now, are you? Because you've lost it. That's how hard it is to retain some of these trophies. So my thing on is, it'd be disappointing if we was to drop down to a 3rd or a 4th given the start to the season and to crash out in like the first round of the playoffs or
It's a
whatever.
marathon, innit?
But
not a
I'm
sprint.
not worried that we've, as you've done it there, lost out on a cup because nothing's won until you win the cup. We haven't lost anything yet.
I don't mean lost out, but like missed out potentially.
I
something
think don't see it that way.
When I'm saying obviously there's that worry there, I think it is because of the start we've had, the possibility to go 6 points clear and possibly have it wrapped up, sort of thing. That's what I meant by worry. But
That'd be more disappointment at losing
Yeah.
such a big lead. For me, look at it's about building for the future. Last year, didn't win anything, finished 2nd, made it to a grand final. This year, managed to top the league for the majority of the year, won a Challenge Cup. Let's see where we finish. Then you build for next year. We see the changes that'll happen in the league and quota spots, and we see what we do. We see what youth we can bring through, and then we build and try and be a club that's at the top for a long time, as opposed to this is our one chance. We aren't here to be a Castleford or a Catalan.
I think that's for me. That's the only area that you need to work on now is youth, because it's no secret that you've not got a lot. Or you've not had a lot. I think at the minute there's 4 players in the entire league that have come through your youth system. It's probably the only area I think now, looking at where you are, where you need to really step up. And you look at our team this week. I think we had 6 youth players just in our 17. So
I do think that we will see potentially a number of your good youth players coming to Rovers coming over the next couple of years. At the minute, Hull FC carry the most number of youth quota spots if we go to 10 next year. So you've got some sorting out to do, you've got some tough decisions, and it's easy to poach across City. Now, there are some players that have come through your youth that I don't think are quality enough to be in a top 2 or top 3 side, but you definitely have some incredible quality players at the academy. I said last week, and I think even the week before, your academy is better than ours. So you've got work. It's that thing of being successful. You've got work to do to hold on to them and get them first team reps.
Finding that balance.
We're now trying to catch up, and cross City is an easy way to jump. So I think over the next few years we could have a really interesting period of player movement, depending on what you choose to do with your first team, and depending on what we choose to do if we want to increase our quota spaces with the new rules that potentially are coming in, and how good some of our academy may or may not be, because that's sort of part of the challenge, isn't it? Finding that balance.
I think, and that's something that I don't think our club are that worried about, because yeah, we've got a really good academy, but I think it's well known within the club that we rate our scholarship higher than we rate our academy. So if we lost some academy players with the scholarship players we've got behind them, there's more excitement about them than there is about the academy. So, yeah, I don't think there's too much worry because I think we're that confident that we've got that many good players coming through. Whether it's blind confidence or not, who knows? You know, it might turn out in 5-10 years that none of them make it. But yeah, you don't know. So, anyway, she's saying we're done. So we're done. So, Tribal this week. It's just Saturday, innit? We're both playing on Saturday. Both away. So we've got FC away at the Brick against Wigan. 3 o'clock kickoff. And then Rovers away in the south of France. 6 o'clock kickoff. Both at Tribal. Both on the big screen. If you can't make it, like I say, both teams playing away. Might be a bit crowded in here. Mixture of fans from both sides of the river. But yeah, get yourself to Tribal if you can. Don't forget to bring your season pass. Get your discount on any bill that's got food and drink. And yeah, let's hope it's a good day for both teams. You don't need to pull a face, Craig. It's because I know that if your guys have a bad day, you might start getting a bit, punchy. Anyway, only if they deserve it. To be fair, they don't get punchy, do they? They just smash car windows. Anyway, what's next? The news.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, to get that in.
I did have to get that in.
Just for the record, there's no evidence of this.
No. Someone's car window got done in Leigh, didn't they? And the Leigh fan decided to just post it on X that it must have been a Rovers fan. No one knows. But, yeah.
You don't even know if it was a Leigh fan because there was no Leigh people in the picture. There was just one guy in a plain T-shirt picking.
I think if you went on his
broken glass
account,
out
it was
window.
apparent that it was a Leigh.
Yeah, but that's on his account. That's not on the day, is it? There's no proof that that's in the stadium. There's no proof that that's a
No.
Rovers
That's
fan.
why I'm saying there's no proof that it's a Rovers fan that did the job. That's why I'm saying. I said it to be edgy. I'm just trying to piss your mate off. Who you know.
This is the problem, innit? I came in last week to record the podcast after encountering some Hull FC players around Hull and said I wouldn't speak about what they did because then it's just my word against what's happened. No, I could have told that story and people online would have been like, Josh is lying. But I know what happened. I know I spoke to and I know what I saw, right? This here is somebody online. Now imagine if I took a video of what I saw last week and then all of a sudden it'd be, well, what a liar. That is the person you're talking about, but you can't prove where he is. You can't prove that was today. So take everything with a pinch of salt. And if they did it, they're idiots, but I don't believe they did.
Nah. You could prove
Whoever
what day
did do
was,
it
though.
is an idiot, full stop, because someone's done it. Whether it was a rugby fan or not, just grow up in life.
Agreed.
News.
In other news,
Yeah, news around the world. Only a couple of real quick ones today with us recording so early on a Sunday morning. We've still got one game of the round to go, and we've probably got all disciplinary and news from throughout the weekend to follow. So, not a big one. The first one, just a shout out for the Wigan celebration of Billy Boston on Friday night. It's worth watching if anybody didn't get a chance to see it, to go back and watch the procession that they had. And Billy came out, they had a throne for him sort of on the halfway and a red carpet. They had some of the ex-players and pros with him as well. And it was just a really nice moment to honour a rugby league legend. You know, we did get him a knighthood, so, you know, we should have been invited. But
It'd have been nice. Because if we both had both teams had the evening off, we could have gone down to the Brick.
And
but
some of the retro gear that they brought out, the Billy Boston range, oh my word, it's sensational.
Is it good?
So fair play to Wigan.
they
on
do it
that.
right, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And I was also really pleased that, because Wigan weren't actually the first choice game on Sky, there was the red button or the action or whatever, they still went over to it from the
main game.
Leeds and Saints game to show that in the build-up, deciding that was more important than the pundits waffling for a bit. So, yeah,
That's
very good.
Sky getting something right for a change.
adverts are more exciting than the pundits waffling. So,
Second one, talk about Christian Wade making his debut, first team debut for Wigan.
Is this a Wigan news section?
It is, yeah. I just thought it was a bit of a tale of two forties, load of errors in the first half, but then managed to come through and quite a good second half, even bagged himself a meat pie. Interesting to see what we're going to do in there. We've literally just finished a conversation about bringing youth through. Wigan often get praised for their youth and how good it is. They come up against, let's face it, a weak Huddersfield team who challenged them for 30-40 minutes, and they still feel the need to put a man in his late 30s that's played professional rugby union for most of his life in at the wing rather than promote from within their academy. I felt that was a bit of a strange choice. and I think that the entire signing of Wade is a strange choice.
I think it is strange, but one team we can't criticise for this really is Wigan team. They're the benchmark for bringing kids through, and they've done it for years upon years. So a pass maybe this time once, but still there's probably a kid who's missed out on a debut.
Yeah, I think you've got to think of it from a salary cap perspective. I think I don't know what the rules are in terms of how soon a kid's salary counts on the cap, but I know that Wade coming from Union, his salary doesn't count on the cap. So have they done it just to bring in another body that's going to be cap free?
I don't know.
Genuinely don't know, but I think it's interesting.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, it could. But it's interesting going forward. I think there was some talk of Miskey and Marshall, but both injured still, carrying knocks potentially. So we might see a bit more of Wade, who, in all fairness, is a bit of a superstar in his own right and can have some flashy finishes.
He looks well out of place in that first half, though, didn't he?
Yep.
I mean, he nearly got that second one in the late on in the game. You know where it looked like he'd pulled his hamstring, but he had the vision and wherewithal to know, right, I need to put the brakes on here and I'm going to go inside now. He did look quite elusive in that moment. I'm like, well, if you've got the, that in your bag in your first game, what's to say what he's going to be like in 3, 4, 5 games? You never know what he's going to be capable of. And wing's not a position in Union and League that's too different. So
no, not really. But we'll wait and see. Want some more Wigan news or move on?
Move on.
What you got?
Nah, I ain't got any more for Wigan.
Can't be worse than State of Origin. So.
State of Origin.
No, it never happened. Next news section.
I wasn't actually going to mention it, but yeah, Maroons
Of course
did
not,
win.
because your Blues didn't win, did they?
No Blues. Not Australian, not from down there.
wearing a blue top.
Yeah, but that did finish. Worth watching the game, would anyone say?
No.
If you want to see a masterclass from Dearden, yeah.
Yeah. He was unplayable.
But from me, you had Maroons were just on fire, and I can't remember the last time I saw New South Wales play that bad.
Yeah. I think a shout out in that needs to go to Billy Slater as well for what he's done.
For having the
and the guts to take Cherry Evans out that squad after game 1 to change it like he did. I think big raps need to go to him.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, he called up a couple of what you'd class as inexperienced at that level players, and it's paid dividends for him. Like obviously Tommy Dearden, the centre, I can't quite pronounce his name.
The forward who was supposed to be going to Saints next year, I can't remember his name.
Papali'i, who came back in.
For the third,
he was superb as well. The only 2 Blues players that really stood out and can take no criticism from that game was Brian Toto and Payne Haas. No, not Payne Haas. Yeah, was it Payne Haas? The prop anyway. I can't remember his name. I was doing real well. And
the thing that confused me the most in that game was the half-back pairing just didn't click in Cleary and Luai. Considering how long they played together at Penrith.
Was it 4 on the bounce, 3 on the bounce they've won at Penrith? And in the last few years?
They just looked lost together. But
it's particularly depressing to watch State of Origin when you watch not only the speed of the game and how it's better than what we see in Super League, but everything that is more efficient and quicker. The video ref decisions, the referee decisions, obviously the play itself, the tackling, just the way they get on with it. Everything. You watch that and then you watch, the first half of your game on Thursday, the night after, and it's like completely 2 different sports, and you can see the gulf is massive.
We speak about over here poor officiating, and this is going to sound... I don't want it to sound like I'm blaming the ref for the Blues, because I'm not at all.
Like you did in the game too.
Yeah, because he did. But in the third game, Ashley Klein and whoever was the video ref were horrendous for both sides. Like I put it on X and it got a fair few likes from both Maroons and New South Wales fans. So I just don't get how Ashley Klein gets free Origin gigs. It was shit when he was over here. It's shit over there.
Right, stop now, because you're going to get on a rant again and you're going to start throwing big
do you know
digits
the worst
at
bit
us
is?
that
I
we
was
don't
just about
know.
to say, because there are
And
definitely
he's got a
going to
minus
be
16 trillion on his refereeing report.
Right, I'm going to
Finish
stop
the
that. I've got another thing on referees. So I'm going to
Well,
move.
I was just
The
before
shit.
before referees. I was just going to say, because there are probably people that watch this that maybe just watch Ullam Rovers and just think, right, that's it, I'm done with it. That I'm an Hull fan, I'm a Rovers fan, I'm just going to watch that. If you have never watched State of Origin, watch it. You do not know what you're missing out
Watch
on.
game 1 of this series, but
No, I
not
think
2
even
or 3.
even 2 and 3, like even as a Blues fan that where we lost, the quality of rugby league that
Yeah.
they've got over there,
It's unreal, isn't it?
it's fantastic. So just give it a watch.
So on the referee point, something I picked up in the women's game that I think needs to be spoke about a little bit. There's been a lot of conversation around refs reffing the hometown club. So we've seen this with Wigan, haven't we, a lot recently. So we've seen that.
You're going to tell me Ashley
These-
Cairns from Brisbane or something?
No. We are going to say that Chris Kendall is a former Huddersfield Giants academy player, though, which doesn't get brought up enough.
Is he?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that never gets brought up enough when people are slagging off the fact that the Moore brothers are from Wigan. But last week, in the women's game, Tara Jones, who only finished playing 1 season ago
For St
for
Helens.
St Helens,
Yeah.
got to ref the St Helens game, right? And this weekend in the game gave some very, very decisive decisions in favour of the Saints team as the referee. So we're not just making a shambles of our sport and discussing it, we're doing it in the women's game as well.
Wow.
Anyways,
We should start trying to start refing.
yeah.
I'd love to ref a Rovers game.
He'd be down the east.
You wouldn't be able to cope. It's quite noisy at Craven
Do you know-
Park.
do you know
the
Connor
library
was-
where you play.
Do you know how Jake Connor was at the end of your game when they won, and he was just like, actually, okay, that'd be me as the ref.
Oh, you're so edgy. Right, final bit of news today. Just to throw names out there, just we'll see where we land on this. But the merry-go-round that is the Castleford Tigers coaching job continues to spew out new names. And some of the new ones that have been thrown out this week, some you might have heard of, some not. But Daniel Holdsworth, ex-FC and Salford player,
Ooh.
he's thrown his hat in the ring by all accounts. Followed by Jason Dimitriou. Remember Jason Dimitriou?
Wakefield
Yeah,
player.
Wakefield
Wakey.
fame and South coach.
Yep. Ryan Carr,
Is he the ex-Featherstone coach?
believe so, yeah.
I know what you mean. The one
He's
that
only
lost
he's
the
only young kid, isn't he?
£1 million
Like
game.
35, 36.
Justin Morgan has been thrown around.
Well, apparently these guys have
Put their names
applied for it,
forward,
haven't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the new one for me this week, Blake Green. I don't know where that came from, but
Wow.
Well, he's assistant at. Is it South's assistant?
he's doing
at?
something
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
But I just saw it.
I mean, I'd imagine they're all assistants somewhere down under, or you can't just waltz into head coach job in Super League without at least doing
It's
your
Super League. You can do what you want.
well, the thing is, with Chester now, that with Chester obviously the head of rugby for Castleford, and knowing a lot of these players previously, there is a lot of connections. Obviously, he worked under Justin Morgan and played under Justin Morgan. He worked and played with Blake Green at Rovers,
Yep.
and so these
He
names
might
keep
have been at
cropping up.
Wakefield when Dimitri
When
was
JD
there.
Quite
was
Maybe,
possibly.
yeah.
So there's a lot. So we wait and see what happens with the Castleford job, but you've got to feel as though at the minute, I think I've heard about 15 different names, each one less likely than the next. So
I think whoever they bring in, they need to do it soon, because if not, they're going to end up in the same position as Maguire did, with a team that they didn't put together, that's just cobbled together full of whatever he can get his hands on late on in the season. And especially with the fact that you can sign players whenever now, pretty much. It just needs to happen straight away. Just get it done.
Yeah, it needs to be sorted out.
So that was it from news around the world.
It's Rugby League Live release week. Big news.
If you want to overpay for a game that will have average graphics and very poor gameplay,
Yes.
Rugby League new game
It's
has been
been
released.
too long
Craig
since we've
will
had a
be.
game, which when I get paid, hopefully.
Fair enough.
When you get paid, hopefully. Is that what it's like to work
No,
for
when I
the
get
NHS?
paid, hopefully I'll buy it.
Oh, I was like, are you hoping
That's what
that
it's
you're
like
going to
to
get
work
paid?
for I can't say where I work because I'll get in trouble if I negatively speak about them.
Yeah, all right, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway,
listeners
who
lounge.
do you work for?
Me.
You not seen his vans trotting around?
Vans. Just one.
I thought you meant trotting around like he's still an horse and cart.
Well,
That bald man on his horse and cart over there.
Shouting
all-
ragbone all
that cool,
day.
that cool bald man.
Cold bald man. I might get that written on the side of my van. Right, listeners lounge. Question from last week from Dave Goldspink on YouTube. During every game, there are regular 6 agains given. that we don't know what for. It would be great if on commentary the reason was given. Thoughts?
Yeah, they do it in the NRL. Sorry, Jimmy. They do it in the NRL, don't they?
Yeah, they just have it literally
says
as soon as it happens.
inside
It's
10
you
or
hear the
ruck.
ding dong, and then it comes up near
It
the
says
score at the
ruck
bottom.
or inside 10 or something like that, and it's like it flashes.
Ruck infringement.
Yeah, red and white, doesn't it? Like
Even I mean the ref's mic'd up. Like even if the ref just said it,
yeah,
it'd be better than now. Because at the minute, all he does is 6 again, and that's it.
yeah. You don't know what
Like,
for.
for
So
what?
in the whole game on Thursday night, the ref did shout, because this was on my mind after we read the question, didn't get to answer it last week, and he did shout 6 again. You're offside. I've told you. And he didn't say who it was to, but we
At
only
least we know.
And this is not a dig, but we only heard it because there was no noise at KC at that moment. No set of fans were singing, and the commentators didn't say anything. So at that specific point, it was 6 again. You're offside. I've already had told you something like that. And it was, if it wasn't for that perfect glow of silence, we wouldn't have known what happened. If it happened 2 or 3 more times in that same game, I can't recall. We didn't know why. So I completely get his point. It would be good to have a reason why it happens.
But it just shows the differences in the levels that they'll have, whoever it is at Fox or Nan, whoever's doing it for their game, they'll have someone with a paddle in front of them, and they'll just go, oh, he'll hear the ref, ruck infringement, bang, inside the 10, bang, and so it'll just come up automatically on the screen. Where we haven't got that. We've barely probably got a guy who, he can't even control the cameras when the video ref needs him. So what chance have we got of that?
That's one for another day, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah. Let's not get onto that.
The answer to that is then we're completely on board. We'd like to know more as well.
Yes,
we
yeah,
don't know why.
definitely.
So we'd like to see an improvement for sure.
Next question, James Wilson on Instagram. 2-part question. First one, Rapana, form is temporary, class is permanent, right? Question mark. Do you agree we should never see him at fullback again?
Second question, yes. 100%. We should never see Rapana play fullback ever again.
It's like Hiku all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I think you referred to that
Yeah,
a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Said it's like a cross between Iku and Skid.
Yeah, definitely. I won't want to see him at fullback again. I think we've got other options. We've proved that with Zach dropping in there the last few weeks. Form is temporary, class is permanent. We still like to see clash from him, but hopefully we're well in a more
I
settled
don't think
position.
we're anywhere near getting to that point yet. I mean, like I say, his game's improved a lot over the last 2 weeks since he's moved back to centre, but centre, you've said it forever, centre's one of the positions where you have to be on point defensively. 4 missed tackles.
Okay.
It's going to take a lot more and the full season to really understand where Rapana is and what he's done for you. I know a couple of times you guys have mentioned like maybe off field is that influence and he's bringing that sort of level of professionalism because he's been there for so long, but on field he has let you down time and time again with stupid errors, stupid mistakes, attitude. You know, you've mentioned a couple of times Dean being disappointed with his attitude, so you're going to really have to get to the end of the year, see where you end up as a team, see where you end up in the league, see what happens regarding top 6 in a playoff push, and also see if he can carry on the form that he's played in the last couple of weeks, which is just okay. It's nothing special for a centre, and like you say, still 4 missed tackles. So it's. I think I said this the other week. It's a bit sad, really, when he was such a superstar over in the NRL. If this is the way that he's going to bow out, hopefully he can probably find a bit more of steady form towards the end of the year and be at least good and not make stupid mistakes. But in my opinion, you've lost games this year, and in part because his performance, along with other players in the team, have been very poor. So it's going to be hard to come back from that and say class is permanent, form is temporary.
Agreed. There's another question from James as well, and I don't really like talking about rumours, but he's asked it, so we'll ask it. Strong rumours around Jez Litton signing for either Leeds or a swap deal with Jack Charles. That's news to me, that one.
News
I've
here
never
as
even
well,
heard
yeah.
that one. Even though it's just a rumour, where would Hull KR go in regards to a hooker if this happens?
I'd like to think, excuse me again, I'd like to think that we have something in line from the way we've done business over the past couple of seasons. It's been like when we've lost a player, we've had somebody come in to replace. So moving forward, I'd like to see us already have somebody in mind who Peters wants moving forward. So obviously there's very, very strong rumours with what was going around yesterday that he has signed for Leeds.
I've heard that one. I've not heard the Jack Charles one.
No, I've not heard the Jack Charles one. I've heard that he has signed for Leeds, Apparently his sponsor announced it, which I'm assuming the club will be fuming about. But who knows? But I'd like to assume we've already got something in place, but where and who is...
He's under contract, right?
Yeah, I
So
believe
you
so.
wouldn't release him
yeah.
if you didn't have anyone lined up, if it was to happen.
The big
so.
issue with this is the rumours yesterday that circulated didn't just include Jez Litton. They included a number of players shown on a website by a lead sponsor. They included players that don't even play anymore, including Skid was under a lead shirt. There was Morgan Gannon. There was Kane Lynette, who obviously is now retired from the game. So that kind of took a bit of credit away from it. Completely agree with Craig's point. You'd expect the way we've gone about our business in recent years, we'd have somebody backed up. My sort of bit of realism and sense of truth to this that could be there is your lifetime and your time playing rugby league is very short. If you're lucky, you get 10 years at the top level to try and make a bit of money and to play. We know Jez loves the club. We know that he loves playing with Mikey. They're very good friends. But he is an old fan at heart. He is still a whole lad. He's not a KR lad. Not like Mikey, who's turned and said, like, the way FC treat me, I'm now KR. Jez is still a Hull FC lad, from what I understand. And he is one of the informed best hookers in the league right now. And if Leeds are going to throw big money at him that we can't, then he needs to go for his own career longevity. It would be a massive loss for us. But at the same time, we might not be able to offer him the money that he's been offered at Leeds if they want to overpay for him or even pay what he's potentially worth. Now, the flip side of that is McAlorum does retire at the end of this year. We was bringing Leyland in to be that next step up and that partner. So we are presumably losing big money from McAlorum going. We lose big money from Jared retiring. So we've got money to throw back as well. And that's a decision we then make that do we want to pay back to keep him? Because I'm sure he'd rather stay here and stay where he's just won a trophy and stay in his hometown unless the money's outrageously big at Leeds. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a little bit of truth to it. I'm just struggling to see two things. Number one, the way it's been announced and what it'd be going for unless it was stupid money. And number two, I believe that we would have done some good business for a replacement and we'll be able to announce that if it's true.
Little caveat to that. Is him going to Leeds going to enhance his chances of making the England squad with it being the Leeds name rather than... Okay, because we always talk...
It shouldn't, but...
You'd like to think not, but
Well,
we all know
you
that
never
stuff
know.
like that happens.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
The thing for me is, I think, much like what Josh just said, I think there is an element of truth to it. What I mean by that is, I think that Jez's agent might have spoken to, or might have been approached by Leeds to say, can we get him? We all know that happens. We all know that the agents, or agent at least, if there is more than one, in rugby league are all trying to ship players here, there and everywhere because that's how they make their money. And I think from a Rovers perspective, with the announcement that we had last week in terms of the quota, it does make it a lot easier. Your talent pool has just more than doubled in terms of who you can approach to replace him. So, yeah.
One more question. Matt H on X. When Price is back, where would you play Hardacre, assuming a fully fit squad?
Centre.
I'm guessing that was for you too.
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
I mean, that's what he is. The main question is there.
Who comes out?
Do you drop Litton or Rapana?
I would like to see Litton give him a rest. This is going to be unpopular. He's still a young lad coming back from a big long-term injury who's relatively fresh to the centre role. Sometimes been pulled out just so you can have a reset, have a learn. I'm not saying he's done anything wrong, but it's not normally a bad thing. And if we've got that option to do it to a young lad,
Then why not?
why not?
Yeah,
Some interesting...
I agree with that.
And I do agree with that as well, yeah. Some interesting opinions flying around on young David Litton at the minute. Seen quite a few more negative ones creeping in, looking at a few more errors in his game, out of position. And I think for me, perhaps a touch unfair. I do think he's still got a lot to learn, but I think you've mentioned a couple of times recently around centre being such a tough position and what you expect. And for me, he's still a bit green to be playing centre at a high level. So maybe some time out could really benefit him and let him come back in.
I think the thing is what you got to think of. When he came in, he was riding the crest of a wave. He was back. He was playing again. So he's all excited. He's still really young. Everyone's seen how energetic he is. But he also came into a team that was performing well. And now he's in a team that's we've definitely had a dip from where we were after them away games where we just kept winning away. it's kind of settled down now a little bit at all. We're obviously not performing as well with players missing. It's easier to see the mistakes. It's easier for him to make a mistake because the rest of the team around him's not performing as well. So I agree, take him out of that for a little bit. I'm not saying that he deserves to be dropped like Dean. I'm not saying that we're performing awful, but a chance for him to just step back and watch. Maybe just watch Zach. Just say, right, focus on what Zach does now. Learn from that. Have a couple of weeks out. Have a couple of weeks rest. Go back in.
And it's hard as well, though. He needs to understand and be sat down and explain that if you're going to do that, the reasons why. And he's got to buy into that ethos and then agree to it, because no player wants to sit on the sidelines. You know, that question then about, I'm sure the rumour about Jez Litton and including a swap with Jack Charles, that'll be born about the fact of frustration that Charles isn't playing. That can just be a Hull fan who's frustrated he hasn't got a game, saying, well, he won't want to stay because he ain't getting a game. But there will be some truth to that. Jack Charles will possibly be frustrated unless he's fully invested and bought into the club and understands his role, because no young kid wants to sit out and not play a game. So that's also them relying on your backroom staff and your coaching to explain why these things are happening.
Yeah,
and
I think they would.
Explain why you're getting sat down when you're watching Rapana make so many errors, etc. You know, so it's a tough one to balance.
Charles will also have some sort of inclination as to what the future plan is at all. You know, is he going to be replacing Caesar, or are we looking at bringing someone in to replace Caesar? Is he going to be coming in at 6 if Cust moves to 9, or are we looking at moving Price in to 6? And then I know there's been slight little rumours about us getting Bailey Hodgson from Leigh. I don't know how much truth there is in that. I've heard it from one person.
The rumour mill in the city, isn't it?
But you know, that could be a thing. Would you have Hodgson at 1, Price at 6? If that's going to happen, well, yeah, Charles is going to look elsewhere, isn't he? But the other thing is, have Litton and Charles got the same agent? Is he just trying to swindle things around?
For me, long term, and I think the club, I've had it a few times from people, the club see Charles as a long term 6. So it would mean in a year's time we would have to go pick someone else up for a 7 as that leader, because I think Caesar's on a 2-year deal and I can't really see him staying. As much as he's done right for us, I don't think he's the man to take us to the next level.
One more year with Caesar and then get Clifford back.
You and bloody Jake Clifford. Right, Listeners Lounge done. We'll have a quick preview before we get into predictions. We're first.
Yeah, we kick off at 3, so Wigan away.
Hopefully the same as the last time we went to Wigan. Be very
Hopefully.
nice. Oh yeah, you'd want
I think
that
we
one,
can agree on that this week, can't we?
I still, like we did in the second half, we need to keep hold of the ball to give ourselves any sort of chance. That first half performance, and we'll be done by half time. I still think we'll struggle to break them down enough to get the 2 points, but I do think we'll give them a game. I think we'll be in the fight for most of it, but like I said, I just don't think we've got enough in attack to cause them many problems on Saturday.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll roll over to them, but especially with the way they've been performing, though, it is if we can keep hold of the ball, if we can get, like I say, I think Cust will start at 9, I think Charles will start at 6. If we can get them 2 firing from the off, it'll help us. But we've also got to think that we need SASA and Knight to perform the way they did, especially second half at Wakefield.
Yeah, we've got
to get anything.
We've got selection problems definitely this week. Ed Chamberlain and Mia Burrow both failed the HIA. I'm assuming Sam Esse won't be playing because it's against his parent club. So I'm not sure if any players are due back. So you'd think
Lane might be due back, apparently.
I don't know. You've got Cust to 9, Charles back in at 6 to start, and then you've got, if Lane isn't back, you need three players to come in and replace them players that are missing out of Briscoe, Hutchinson, Laidlaw and Gardner. Ashworth will already be in the squad anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ashworth will start at second row.
Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking about players coming into the 17, and I can only think of Briscoe, Hutchinson, Laidlaw and Gardner. 3 of them 4 to come in to the 17. I can't really see any others.
I think this is going to be one of them games where we have 4 players on the bench and 2 of them get used.
Yeah, we've seen that.
I think we'll just rotate the props. We'll do it where SASA and Knight, we'll do basically what Josh doesn't like. We'll have SASA and Knight both doing half an hour, come off for 5-10 minutes, then go back on and play the next 40.
It could possibly be that.
I just dislike it. I don't know.
I don't like
Maybe
it.
I don't
You've got
like
a
it.
bench,
You said you said Josh dislikes it. I didn't understand.
You'd like, because you've mentioned a few times about you
Yeah,
dislike the
because
overuse of
this
players.
is my concern.
It's a welfare issue.
You've got two massive things that go against you depending how you turn up at Wigan on Saturday. Play like you did in the first half. Wigan are not Wakefield.
Nope.
They will just tear you apart.
We'll be done by
and you'll be
half-time.
done by half time. The second one is, well done SASA for the massive meters and graph this week. He will not be fit enough to go again on Saturday because he's not that type of player. Unfortunately, when you're that big, and I'm not saying this is not a thing about his size and saying he's out of shape in that thing. He's a big unit, but the heat you played in and the effort he had to put in to lead your team in the second half, he will not be ready to go again and do that performance again.
He might
think
he's got a 9-day
and-
turnaround.
Yeah, that's
The last
the
time,
thing. Is it's
the last
9-day
time he
turnaround.
did 2 or 3 games like this in a row, not as big as that, 2 or 3 games over the 100 mark and big efforts. He's then had a massive dip in form, and we had a comment saying he was carrying a sternum issue, a sternum
Yeah, I heard that.
injury.
I didn't know
I don't
about
think
it.
he'd be playing rugby if he had something wrong with his sternum. But we didn't.
He
we
did
hadn't
get
had
a
that.
sternum injury,
But he
didn't he?
did
And
get
then
one
came
before.
back
Whether
a
it
little
was
bit early for. I don't know if it's an issue as such.
is it
or
carrying
if it
on,
was an injury.
but he's come back at a barnstorm game there. I could be wrong. He could go and do it again, but the history books in his performance shows that the last time he's put a few of these big performances on in a row, then he drops again because he's overused, and that's why I don't like it. And I know it's needs must with the position you're in with a couple of injuries, but I would worry about using him that way, especially against Wigan's forwards.
Yeah, I do agree. But we will see.
We will see.
You guys, later on that day, travel to Catalan?
We do, yeah. Should have Mikey back. All being well. No Jez. Fields the HIA.
Leyland in for him to swap with
I'm a
Mickey
bit
Mack?
I'm a bit worried with this because McIlroy had to play big minutes again at weekend. That's 2 weeks in a row where he's had to play big minutes. So moving forward, how is he going to be going on from that? And Leyland, I don't think he's ready to sort of take on that Jez role at the moment, in respect of Jez plays 60 minutes of a game where after McIlroy, or 50, 60 minutes, depending on what McIlroy does. I don't think he's ready to do that, so I do think you may see him play maybe 20 minutes here and there, and then McIlroy will split the rest. But it is a bit of a worry, especially it's probably going to be warm again in the south of France. It's going to be a tough one.
Hot and wet by the looks of it.
Hot and wet.
Just how I like it. The
So the words out my mouth.
I like Craig's sort of opening gambit there though. We saw it against Leeds. It was incredibly tough to get any sort of real speed going after we had to move Jez into the halves and Mickey McIlroy stay at hooker after Mikey went off. And I think we'll go Mickey Mack starts, plays 20 in the heat against his old club, and then we probably will bring Leyland on at hooker and go from there. Still a bit of a learning a lot of learning for him, I would say. Actually, I was going to say a little bit, but probably a big learning. He's still stepping up to that Super League level. Hopefully, we can put a poor Catalan team to bed before he needs to come on and be 2 or 3 tries up, and then it won't matter. But I'm not, counting eggs before they've hatched, so we'll see. But I still expect us to be able to go and do it and bounce back from these 2 defeats. But, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, definitely. Moving forward, I don't really think we're suffering anything in the pack. I probably expect to see Batch maybe drop out and Martin come back in.
Well, Batch looked a little
God
bit
knows.
still out of it.
I mean, he got
for
rounded
me.
by the fattest player on the pitch, for crying out loud.
And then outrun by him.
And then outran by him. That was embarrassing for him.
Yeah, but you got an out-and-out centre coming up against the second row playing at centre.
I'm a little bit more forgiving of that. I think Tessie New has got incredible explosive speed, and
Yeah,
I think-
explosive speed, but not
it-
maintained speed. And Batchelor got nowhere near him.
okay, see it differently.
I see it the same way as Josh.
Shock.
I actually do.
I see it the same way as Craig. Embarrassing.
Are you on
I got
about the
the cool one
fixture
on
in
my side.
general, or just that
Both.
moment?
Just that. I don't know. I've lost track what he was actually talking about. You agree with Josh?
He
I
was
thought I'd agree
he
with
was on
Craig.
about celebrating a former Rovers player reaching 250 tries.
No, we weren't.
Were you not?
No.
Do you know what? We have missed that out, though, and I am...
How cute it was. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, no, I think... Not necessarily just how cute it was. I think we have just missed that out on the news section. I think it is a massive achievement that we should be celebrating. I think might be annoying for you that a former player...
I saw his first try, and I've seen his 251st now, and 50th. So
It was incredible to see Chandler get over the 250. It moves him into like 27th top all-time scorers.
Yeah.
He's not a man who kicks goals, so he's doing that purely on his try scoring as well.
I think he's in the top 20. I think he's 22nd all-time top try scorer ever.
wow.
So if you include all his England tries and stuff.
You got to remember, he took a few years out to play Union as well.
Oh yeah. But what I really liked, just to make sure that everyone carries on with the controversy that is rugby league, and that is the fact that the touch judge gave him a fist bump after he
That
scored.
was disgusting.
That's
Just-
another thing why I wanted to...
So if anybody likes to get mad and say that refs are biased or they make decisions or they've got hometown favourites and stuff, go and dap him up after the game. Go and say well done. Don't be fist bumping a player in the middle of a game that, all right, wasn't in the balance.
It's not just that, it's the massive cheesy that the ref had on his face when he went...
touchy.
No, the ref.
Yeah. Something was
Watch
said
it
afterwards.
back.
Moore's incredibly happy while he's sending it up to get checked.
He I think I said it in the group. He said try, but he had like a little spring in his step. Try like
Yeah.
that, and I'm like,
I mean,
why
he
are
had
you
a-
so happy about
I think
it?
he had a feather up his ass or
I
something,
think
but I don't know what it was
when
about.
you're in
but-
a sport that is so small, I use that term lightly because I don't think we're small, but you know we are a minority sport, and the refs and the players and all that, you know, they are probably a bit closer than they should be in general, but you can't help but I'm no fan of Charnley. He's never played for all. He's never done me any favours, but I can't help be happy for him getting 250.
Second all-time Super League try scorer is an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
And I'm sure him and his best mate Marcus, who was at Wigan, blah, 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 together is great. What we're mad about is, now we're talking about, we shouldn't even be giving 5 minutes to this. We should be saying, well done, Charnley, instead of, why the fucking hell is the touch judge giving him a fist bump afterwards? Why is the referee so pleased to see it happen?
Yeah.
It's a bit strange. It doesn't show that level of professionalism that we want in the sport.
It doesn't.
Fair.
Fair.
Agreed.
Finish on predictions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
My time to shine.
Practiced your stadiums.
Got them wrote down. As you were doing the old previews, I was like, beep, beep, beep. So Thursday night over at the Totally Wicked in St Helens. St Helens versus Leigh. Saints convincing for me by 14.
Okay.
Saints by 22.
All right, maybe not as convincing as what Josh thinks.
Saints by 4.
I've got Leigh by 8.
And
After
Susan?
your week so far, there's no reason to
No
question
reason why
you.
not, yeah.
Well,
you
you
know,
know,
yeah.
Susan shouted out last week, I'm not copying off you, you're at the bottom, blah, 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 blah. I've had the best week out of the lot, yeah.
Not copying off you, but he's
Hang
also
on,
got Leigh
hang
by
on,
8.
Hang on.
Have you got Leigh by
I've
8?
wrote the wrong fixture down here. Who was Saints playing?
Leigh.
Right, I'm not doing that then.
To be fair, he had Cass wrote
I
down.
don't know why it says Cass. I did it this morning over there. So Saints play Leigh.
Yes. At Saints.
Friday night.
At St Helens, Thursday night. Thursday night.
Leigh by 8.
Leigh by 8. There we go.
Apologies.
Literally copied off me.
What you just
Literally.
said.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
He had nothing else. He just went Leigh by 8. On to Friday night in West Yorkshire, John Smith Stadium, Huddersfield versus Wakefield. I've gone for Huddersfield by 8.
Ooh.
Okay, Wakey by 24.
Wakey by 13.
Wakey by 14.
And Susan's got Wakey by 8, so just me going for Huddersfield.
I
Yeah,
like
I
it
don't
when
know.
we're different. Because I'm chasing you.
Yeah.
What, like Batch was chasing,
So the
chasing you last?
Yeah.
Like a fat guy in treacle. Slightly east, over to Headingley. Leeds against Salford. I've got Leeds by 28.
Leeds by 28.
Leeds by 42.
I've got Leeds by 40.
Susan has Leeds by 36. So yeah. On to Saturday, over to the Brick in Wigan. Wigan versus Hull. I've got Wigan by 14.
I've got Wigan by 18.
Wigan by 16.
Got Wigan by 8.
Susan has Wigan by 12. So very close,
Very
on
close,
that
yeah.
one, yeah, all round. Over to the south of France. Stade Gilbert Brutus, Catalans versus Rovers. I properly could not decide between these. In the end, I went for Rovers by 7.
Couldn't decide
I don't know.
Couldn't decide which one would win, or couldn't decide how much Rovers would win by.
Which would win?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I don't.
You have an awful record over there, don't you?
Yeah. As we do at Leigh as well, by the way. Just saying.
Fair.
You can't really say that. It's the first time we've lost against them since the
Against them, but a lot of them have been at home. I played
Still
like
last year.
two games away.
You nilled them 3 games in a row. You haven't lost them to
Yeah,
them since
one
Wembley.
good performance done. You can't roll a dog tied in glitter, can you, and make it sparkle?
Fair enough. Josh?
KR by 24.
Rovers by 10.
Rovers by 20.
Susan's got Rovers by 10. And finally, over at the Jungle, Weldon Road, Castleford versus Warrington. I've got Warrington by 8.
I've got Cass by 8.
Cass by 8.
Wire by 10.
Susan's also got Wire by 10.
Ooh. Well,
And
some
that
differences there.
is that. It's going to be interesting next week.
There's a chance that by this time next week, I'll have caught you.
I've got no shame. Apart from wearing an old shirt, I'll pretty much do anything.
I mean, we've already called you out on this. You've already said it on the podcast.
I'll have an enema live. I am not wearing an old shirt.
Wow.
I am not wearing a whole shirt.
Okay.
One final shout out, anyways. Little Noah had his birthday yesterday. Represents Cottingham Tigers. Watches a podcast every week with his dad, Brando, from my work. So big shout out to you, kid. Keep going. Hopefully see you in Super League in the future.
Is he the one that thinks I'm a ballet?
dick? Yeah.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Anyway, on that, thanks again to Comscaf for sponsoring and for Tribal for letting us in at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And
I was lucky I got here. I missed my alarm. Susan ringing me woke me up.
is that why you were late?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We didn't have to stop to charge his van this week.
Don't.
Sorry, Susan's mum.
On that note, see you bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.